Hello there. In this video, we're going to talk about crossing a river and how to do it safely and some of the things that I've done over the years to keep myself upright. Oh, be sure to stick to the end of the video because the fifth thing is probably the most important thing to consider when safely wading a river. So it's not a matter of if you're going to fall in, it is a matter of when you fall in. So there are some things you can do to help reduce the risk of falling in. Be smart about it, right? Because if you can get into trouble, really big trouble, really fast. The statistic is pretty great of all the people that drown fly fishing on rivers every single year. So be careful. If it looks too swift, if it looks too deep, don't try it. It's not worth it. So we'll start off with that. Now in this particular river, you can see it's very clear waters. Clear waters can be deceiving on depth. If you're crossing something that's this swift, that's at your waist or higher, that's too deep, and the likelihood of you getting swept downstream is pretty likely. So be careful when you cross clear streams. There are some clear streams in Oregon that are so crystal clear, looks like you can walk right across it. First step, all of a sudden you're chest deep, and now you're getting swept downstream. So if it looks too deep, don't try it. Right? To help mitigate if you do fall in, have a wading belt on. I've got a wading belt on. I've got it cinched in tight. That just gives you enough time to pop up if you happen to fall in with waders, and that belt keeps water from just kind of getting quickly into your waders. So have a strong wading belt always on and make sure that it's cinched up pretty tight to mitigate that if you fall in. All right, there are 5 things to consider when crossing a river. So we already talked about number 1, right, is be smart about it, check the depth, check the swiftness. If it's too swift and too deep, just don't do it, don't cross. The next thing, number 2, is have really good traction. I found some river spikes from corkers that really grip well, even better than felt. These things grab the bottom like no other boot that I've ever worn. So I would recommend either getting studs or this river spike from corkers because they grip. Gives you the best chance to not slip on these rocks. Next is stance, right? Number 3. You want to have a wide stance. Try not to get your legs crossed or too close together when you're crossing a river. Have a wide stance because as soon as you take that step, the current is going to want to push your foot down. And if you're too close to your other leg or other foot, you're going to get crossed up, tangled up, and fall in. So I keep a very wide stance when I'm walking down the river. I also kind of choose my angle, right? I'll start kind of very slight angle upstream. And then if it gets a little bit too swift, sometimes you can steer and just kind of coast down with the current, angling slightly, making sure that you're not getting into deeper water. Generally, it's a straight across path that I'm taking, but sometimes it's a little bit upstream just so I can kind of control things. Or if I feel like I might be getting in trouble, I'll shift a little bit downstream and make that cross. Very slight angles, but wide stance, know your surroundings, and just make sure that each foot is firmly planted before taking the next step, right? So you want to keep your balance when you're doing something like crossing a river. All right, number 4, a wading staff. That makes a huge difference. I don't know what took me so long to get myself a wading staff. Now that I have a wading staff, it's like having a third leg, right? I mean, it really does help with stability. So even if you're young and super in shape, I'd recommend getting a wading staff. They go nicely right on your belt. They're out of the way. They fold up. They zip out really quick. They zip back together really quick. And it just gives you that little extra security that if you do get crossed up or you do get stuck or out of balance, that wading staff will help balance you and keep you from falling. So I would highly recommend getting a wading staff. All right, so now we're to number 5, right? The most important thing, and I'm going to circle back to number 1. Be smart about it. Know your surroundings. If it looks too deep, don't try it. If it's waist deep or higher in swift water, don't try it, even with a wading staff. I don't want you to get killed. I want you to be safe. Have a good wading belt. Cinch up those waders. Be smart. That fish on that other side of the river is just not worth it if it takes your life. So please be careful and be smart. But if you do those tips, I think you'll stay upright more often than in the river when you go to cross. All right. And if you need a little help with your fly fishing cast, check out this video right here. It's helped over 300,000 people cast that fly rod if you're just starting out. All right, everybody, till the next time, fish on.